Hello, it's Jim Reed with Next Level Coaching, and we do these podcasts. I do 2 a month, and the reason I do them is because I believe whatever you think about most is what you will become. I believe that if you think it's a really tough market and you ain't going to make it, then it's a really tough market and you ain't going to make it. I believe that if you feel like I'll do everything it takes to make it, then you're going to make it. And so I'm going to tell you right now, my biggest tip before this call starts is if you're hanging out with people who tell you how hard this is, how unfair this is, that you need to cut them out. You got to cut them out. On the stage last loan officer retreat, I said, you may have to eliminate some of your friends. And people looked at me like I was crazy. So you don't have to, you could just not make it. Or you could listen to me because I've been through all this and done all this. So I do 2 of these a month and I interview some of our best producers. They're either a really top producer at our company or they're a top producer and they're a coach for me in Next Level Coaching. Next Level Coaching is about peer leadership. It's about you learning from someone who's already doing it and already been through it and following them and copying them to greatness. That's really what it's about. So today I'm super stoked to have my friend Justin St Clair with us. Justin is a silent assassin. Like you hang out with Justin, he smiles like that. He don't say much. He steps back from the crowd a little bit, but he just keeps putting up good numbers. He just does the work. And so I got to know him a little bit and found out he was like a collegiate golfer, which in case you didn't know is very tough. It takes lots of, there's 2 kinds of sports. There's team sports and there's individual sports. Being a loan officer is an individual sport. When it's an individual sport, you spend a lot of time alone, looking in the mirror. And I think that's part of why you've been successful. What do you think?
No, I totally agree. Playing golf at the highest level, I learned how to grind, right? And I learned how to follow process and be coached, right? I learned how to learn from the best and people that have come before me and take the things that they did really well and incorporate that in what I did, right? So it actually, it's funny in hindsight, I never in a million years would have imagined doing what I'm doing right now. 10 years ago, if you would have asked me, I thought I was going to be playing with Tiger and hoisting green jackets and doing all this other crazy stuff. But I look back and my time in collegiate golf and being a golf pro afterwards and working in the business, I realized how much of that laid the groundwork for what I did and do now, right? And how much that helped me catapult, my business and grow, because I just really had a lot of the foundations of, like I said earlier, being coached, right? Like just being coachable, listening to my mentors, landing here and having some great leaders around me and just learning the business from the right way from day one.
Awesome. So how long have you been a loan rep?
So I've been a loan rep now for just over 6 years.
That's it?
Just 6 years.
Wow. So before that, you were a golf professional, either playing golf or being a golf pro, like working somehow in that industry. Is that right?
Yeah, working. I was a golf instructor, so I coached a lot of high level, like aspiring tour players, college players, things like that. So working
I'm gonna
in
fly
the
you down to
business.
Sacramento. Give me a couple tips. I don't want you to rebuild my swing, bro. I just want a couple small tips.
Just listen. You just need one thing, and never on the golf course. I'm not going to tell you anything on the course. That'll just automatically wreck your round.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you say the one thing because I just watched this thing and it talked about the main thing. And this guy was giving this speech and he said this and it was annoying me. He kept saying, the main thing is the main thing is the main thing is the main thing. And I'm like, dude, give me something else. And he just kept saying, the main thing is the main thing is the main thing. And I finally figured out what he was trying to tell me. What do you think he was trying to tell me?
It really comes down to one thing, right? You don't have to do 100 different things, right? You just have to do 1 or 2 really, really well at a high level, right? And it's just like, golf or any other sport or anything else you do, right? What it really boils down to, you do a couple things and you just do them very, very well. And you just always work on getting sharper at those skills.
Nice. I agree. So when I translate to our business, the main thing is realtor relationships.
Yep.
That's
100%.
the main thing. It's the main thing. If you keep it the main thing, and every day you wake up and you're like, how many realtor relationships do I have? how many A's, how many B's, how many C's, and you don't fib to yourself, right?
Yep.
You don't fib to yourself. If you just look at that every morning and you just keep looking at it, that's all you really got to do, because eventually one of two things will happen. Either you will get out of the business or you will realize that you don't have enough. And then
Yep.
you'll do something about it. Like the favorite thing I love, in our next level coaching, which we got from Nicole and Rick Ruby, is personal budget. And people want to talk about the budget and they want to argue with me about the budget. I got allergies in Sacramento, so forgive me while I wipe my nose. So they want to argue with me. I had special calls this week because they weren't comfortable sharing their personal information on a call in our coaching program about money. And they think that, that's private family matter between, I get it. But I don't know how you get better keeping it up private. I don't know how you get it. I don't know how you do it. So what we do in our coaching program is we share and we copy. We share and we copy. And we just keep the main thing the main thing. You were going to say something, I could tell.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you can't really be honest with where you're really at, right? Whether it's your greatness tracker or your budget or, whatever other metric that we use to measure how well we're doing in our business, if you're not really truly honest, you're not really open to growth. Like you've got to really see where you're at. And sometimes it's humbling, right? Sometimes that greatness tracker is a little slim, right? Or if you're really truthful about those face-to-faces, you're like, I know I'm supposed to do 15, but man, I did like 4 and like 3 of those were with my top best buddies. I am not really chasing any new listing agents, right? So I think if we're really truly authentic and we're really honest about that, it's super humbling, but you got to be willing to kind of open up, especially in coaching, right? You got to be willing to be vulnerable, and that's how you're going to grow.
Wow. Like I didn't know where this interview was going to go. Like I said, we do these 2 times a month, and we do these because we want to put in your brain stuff to think about our business better, so you can get better at our business, so you can do it in a shorter amount of time, so you can go home, right? Yeah. So I don't prep for these. We don't script these. I call people and they're like, oh my God, what we're going to talk about? I say, don't worry about it. It'll just come out, right? True story?
100%,
yeah.
True story.
So what just came out to me is you're like, here's the way I would say what he just said. Check your ego. Like check your ego at the door. And so here's what I would say to you guys who are struggling with that, or maybe think that you have a better way. And since we're on golf, I'm going to keep it about golf for just a second. So Tiger Woods, he rebuilt his swing twice. I don't know anybody who would argue that his results may not be the best ever, but at times he was for sure the best that ever played. I don't know anybody who would argue with that. His results may not be the best ever, but for periods of time, he was for sure the best that ever played. You agree?
100%.
Right. And so during his times as the best that ever played, he sought out coaches and changed his swing, which at the time I thought was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen, right? But what he knew that I didn't understand at the time is if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. He saw the future and knew there'd be 20 guys who could bomb at 330, maybe 40 guys. I don't know how many, I don't even know, but there would be a bunch. And so he knew he had to keep getting better. And the truth is the same as in our business. So in our business, if you're not working on getting better, if you're not working on adding new realtor relationships, specifically, if you're not working on adding new realtor relationships that are qualified realtors, you are choosing to go backwards, especially during this market. So I want to bring back this market compared to the last 2 years in a minute, Justin. But before that, we already talked about what you did before mortgage. How'd you get in the mortgage business? How'd you get here?
Yeah, totally by luck. One day I was out of the course and working, and a buddy of mine showed up, and he goes, "Hey, I'm a loan officer." Right. And he's super excited. Right. And at the time I didn't know, right. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's new to the business. So he's reaching out to all the people he knows and tell everybody he's a loan officer. Right. And I thought it was random. Hadn't talked to him in 5-6 years. And so we go out, we're hitting balls. He's telling me all about it. And I'm like, loan officer, what is that? Like, what does that even mean? Right? Have no idea. Right? He's telling me how much money he can make and all the stuff he's doing. And I'm like, dude, there's no way. Like, there's no way
He showed you his pay stub and you're like, you're a liar. No,
yeah, I'm like, dude, you're a liar. Like, there's no way, right? And at the time, what was really cool is that I was actually giving lessons every week to a guy that was working for another company. He was a regional manager for another mortgage company. And I trusted him really well. And so I said, hey, so I met with him, and I was kind of thinking golf wasn't going to be for me anymore, right? So it was like timing was really good, where I just didn't want to be 45 and broke, right? And I was on that path, like 100%. I was going to be broke at 45 if I kept being a golf pro.
Yeah.
And so I vetted it out. And what's crazy is, like, the more I talked about it, the more I talked to, everybody that knew about being a loan officer, the more I realized, like, wow, it's actually a lot of what I do now. It's coaching people through a process, right? And once they understand mortgages, I mean, this is for me, and it sounds like I can make a lot of money at it too. So it's a double win, right? So and then coincidentally, he, a good friend, Dave Kammer, right next door to me here, was looking for a loan partner one. And so I met him, and the rest was history.
Dude, you lucked out on that.
I did. I had no idea who Dave Kammer and Robin Lavasser were at this little Eugene branch here. And yeah, how blessed was I to land with that mentorship.
Dude, you bring up something I bring up on almost every one of these calls. You are so lucky to be in the mortgage business.
Yeah.
It's
totally.
the best kept secret.
100%.
Really
people
is.
Still don't know. They have no idea when you tell them.
We think everybody knows because we're in it all day.
Yeah.
We think all our clients know the process and what a pain it is. We think everybody knows what we know, and the truth is they don't, and we are so lucky. And here's what I tell people. Do you think that your kids will be as lucky as you were?
I don't know. I mean,
Probably not.
I mean,
like I think mine will be mine, but statistically, if you look at it globally, probably not.
Chances are low.
Well, probably would mean 51%. Less than probably would be 49. I would say less than probably.
Yeah.
So who are we to mess this up?
It'd be
We're
terrible.
selfish.
Yeah.
Like if you're lazy, you're not following the plan, you're not calling 40 realtors, you're not doing Tuesday updates, you're not making promises to the listing agents, you're not going and meeting them, you're not going to the signings, you're not sending out your monthly email, your weekly email, your monthly snail mail, you're not calling VIPs, you're not working open houses. If you're not doing that stuff, honestly, the way I feel, because at times I didn't do that stuff, it was selfish.
Agreed. 100%.
Like I think our job is to do this, take care of ourselves, our kids, and their kids.
We have an incredible opportunity to give to our kids and our kids' kids and give them such a leg up just with whatever it is, right? Like going to college and coming out debt free, or being able to buy a house and get their down payment, right? There's so many opportunities that come from what we do right now that, that's why that most people don't have. So, I mean, you're 100% right. It would be incredibly selfish to waste it.
Yeah. So sometimes I'm like, hey, it's got to be about somebody other than you if you want to go. If you want to really go, you really got to make it about somebody other than you. I already got enough to take care of me. Why do I keep going? I want to take care of others. My dad used to tell me, I'm going to teach you how to take care of yourself, and then I'm going to show you how to take care of other people. And if you don't do it, I'm going to beat you up. And my dad's 6'3" and barrel chested. He can beat you up.
Yeah.
So you look at you in the industry, 6 years, you grew up on a team. You started as an LP1?
Yeah, LP1.
How long were you an LP1? So me and you, that's why we get along. That's how I started. I was an LP1 for Todd. Yeah. I swear to God, my first day, he handed me a list of 300 people. He said, these guys need loans. Call them and say this.
Yeah.
I've never called anybody on the phone before I didn't know. I was a grocery clerk and a track guy.
You figured it out quick.
I didn't want to do it. I faked it.
Yeah.
I faked it. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. And there was this loan officer sitting next to me. I was a loan partner one. I'm like, dude, I don't want to call these guys. He said, give it to me. I'll call them. I said, no. Then I got territorial. Then I went back to Todd and I said, what do I say again? He's, I'll get a pen. So I wrote it down and I went and called him. How about you? How long were you LP1?
I was an LP1 for about 2.5 years.
Wow, a long time. What'd you learn?
Everything, right? I learned how to take a super complete application. I learned how to pre-approve buyers. I sat in on hundreds of appointments with Dave, listening, taking notes, right? It was probably,
Wow.
I look back and I think a lot of the MLAs and how, yes, I sacrificed some short-term money being an
I'm
LP,
not even sure about that.
but it's gained me millions long-term, right? Like by the time I was ready to go, within a year, I had a team of 3. I was doing 10 plus loans. I knew what to do, right? I already knew the framework of how to run a team and run a business because that's what I learned from the ground up. And so it's invaluable. And if you ever have the opportunity to be on a big team and really just learn how to do it from the ground up, it's incredible wealth of knowledge, right? And it's so undervalued. I feel
undervalued. Check this out. So check this out. A good loan officer in our industry, a good one, we make about $4,000 a loan. Was that about right?
Yeah.
So, a loan officer does 40 loans a year. They make 4 times 160, right?
Yep.
Let's say 125 to 160. That's a pretty good earning, right? I mean, I do loans for a living.
Yeah.
Most of my borrowers don't make more than that.
Once upon a time, my dream was to make 6 figures. That was like,
Yeah,
whoa, if I do that, I arrived.
Right? So a normal loan rep does 3 or 4 loans a month, right? And
Yep.
you were on a team where you guys did how many loans a month?
I think it was about 15 to 20, somewhere in there.
So every month, if it's 4 and it was 16, you did 4 months worth of work.
Yeah.
So every year, you did 4 years worth of experience. So in 2 years, you got 8 years worth of experience. Now listen to me. If you listen to this, by most, I mean 90% of loan reps don't make it 5 years. So you had more than 5 years of experience by the time you had to go do it. And that's what MLA coaching and summit funding has that people don't get. Yep. So you grew up, you grew up on a team, you learned loans, you went on your own. What's the most loans you've ever done 1 year?
Last year, 185.
Wow. That's pretty good.
It was a pretty good year.
When people listen to this and they're like, oh, that's pretty good. I've heard people doing more. I'm just telling you, I was a coach for the Corps for more than 20 years. I was friends with every single coach on there, all the ones you've ever heard of. When they do a lot more than 250 or 300, they're counting loans that they really didn't do much on.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. And it's okay. It's okay because they helped create the relationship and they're a lead generating machine. And I have no problem with it. But it's not the same thing as what we talk about when we talk about being a loan originator. So a ton of loans. So when you think about what you've learned, how long have you been coached in our business? How long have you been coached as a loan rep?
Well, I've been really coached from day one, but officially being part of Summit Coaching going on about 3 years.
It's next level coaching, but it's okay.
Yeah, next level coaching, yes.
3 years. So
yes.
Since when you first started till now, I don't even want to ask you your numbers, and here's why. Because when you first started was right before COVID.
Yeah.
The government stepped in and lowered rates to 2 point something. We all lived in a fantasy world. And the problem that I feel, so golf, you ever had a few days in a row where it felt like you couldn't miss?
Once a year, yeah.
Yeah, and you felt like you could hit it high, you could hit it low, you could draw.
Anything you want.
Right.
Yeah.
And you thought you had it figured out.
Yep.
And you started to feel entitled.
Yep.
You ever had that? Because I've had that in golf and I was never like you.
It happens, yeah.
Yeah, and then what happened?
Then you just go out one day and you warm up and you're like, that's not, I don't know, that swing feel's not there anymore. It ain't working. I can't do it. Shoot 80.
Yes. So you start to feel entitled. Maybe you work a little less hard. You kind of feel like you got it figured out. You feel like you figured out the swing grip or the tempo, or I don't know what, because I don't know golf like you do.
Yeah.
But you feel like you got it figured out, and then someone slaps you in the face.
Yeah.
And for some golfers and some loan reps, that's where it ends.
You know, I'll tell you what, one of the best things that I learned from my golfing days that has helped me, especially in this market, is it a tougher market? Yeah, right. Some days you go out and you play and you feel like you did everything right and shoot a high score, right? Yeah, like 100%, right? Sometimes there's just things outside your control. The tougher things get, the more focused I get on process, right? Like if purchase is down half, then I'll double my face-to-faces, right? I'm going to double my greatness tracker. I'm going to meet more people up front. Like I'm going to focus not on the results, I'm going to focus on the process. And if I do that at a high level, the results will happen, right? Just like golf or anything else, like just focus on the process and just let it happen.
Hey, Tiger Woods, I saw one of his whatever interviews, and he said, my pop said, if I do the work, I'll get the results.
100%.
If I do the work, I'll get the results. So my focus on these calls is always, hey, listen, if it's new, it's not true. And if it's true, it's not new, right? So how, like you just said something that I think is brilliant, which is if I'm not getting the results I want, I just increase the activity within the same boundary, right? So I don't go look for new things like paying for social media and point per click and Google. I just do more of each one of the categories of the greatness tracker, right?
Yep.
That's what you said. That's what I heard you say.
Yeah.
So that's really easily set.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but how do you implement that in your daily calendar and your team? Like, what's some tactics? Like, I know what mine are, but they're tired of listening to me. So, how do you like if you're like your leads and your units are down, and I'm in, so listen, Justin is a coach for me, so I coach the coaches. So every other week, I coach these guys, and trust me, I'm in their kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm in their kitchen and I'm scrambling some eggs. So when I get on you, how do you respond? How do you tactically increase your activity when it comes to the greatness tracker? What do you do with your team? What do you do with your schedule? And how do you measure success?
So a couple things that I do. Number one is I always have a printed daily calendar. Within that calendar, every single day, no matter what, I've got time blocked out. Every time I've got time blocked out for prospecting. That's just non-negotiable, right? So Mondays, I will literally block my whole calendar. My team knows I leave the office, right? I leave the office and I just make realtor calls on Monday, because if I'm here, people come in, they ask me questions, talk to me, I get distracted, I make 5 calls all day. The second thing is in my
right there. So what he said was when he's in the office, he gets distracted so much and he solves other people's problems so much that he feels busy and successful, even though he was not successful. You got to listen to that. So he told you he leaves the office. What I do is I go in the parking lot and I make calls from my truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I park my truck in a different spot where they don't know what it is. Because I did that for a while, Justin, and then they knew I was doing it and they would come knock on the damn window.
Yeah.
So I drive to the back where they don't know where I'm at. So that's a simple tactic that will work. Keep going.
The second thing is I have a daily team meeting, and the biggest thing that we talk about every day is leads, right? How many leads do we have for the month? What do we need for per day to meet our goals, right? I find that when we focus on leads, it just creates activity on the team. Like the team buys into it, right? Like they know what our goal is, they know what we need per day. And it's funny, like when we're down, my team's kind of like, hey, come on, like get out there, like go get some, like get out the door, right? Go get us some leads, go meet some realtors.
Right there. Listen, you're super coachable. I'm even more happy with you than I was before. I'm just telling you guys, whatever you focus on in your team meeting is what you will get.
Yep.
Whatever you focus on in your team meeting is what you'll get. If you focus on loan problems, you'll get loan problems. You will. If you say, hey, what loan problems do you have that I can solve? Guess what? Every loan will have. Problem. If you focus on leads and activity, guess what you'll get? Leads and activity. So you guys that are out there that are going through a pipeline meeting every morning, I just want to grab you and shake you. You got people who get paid to do that. Let them do it.
Yep.
Right? Your job is leads. Excellent. You keep going. Wow, you're doing really good.
You know, I did one recently, and I've only been doing it for a couple of weeks, and I actually stole it from Lacey Moore's. I thought it was brilliant. Was pre-engineering your greatness tracker. So I would come in, and a lot of days, you know, we all struggle with that motivation sometimes, right? Like in my mind, I think about like some people I want to call and connect with. Next thing you know, the day go by, I didn't call them, right? And day after day, it's like, God, I should have called him 2 weeks ago. I missed my window, right? I'm an idiot. What am I doing, right? Because I thought, you know, some loan problem was a bigger thing that I needed to tackle, or I started chit-chatting with somebody else. And a couple of weeks ago, I started putting down names, and I don't need 30 names, right? I just started putting down like 5 names to start with that I actually really want to call.
Yeah.
And my goal is to see how quickly I can highlight them.
Oh.
Right? I kind of play a game with myself. Like, you know what? I mean, the truth is, if I really, really focused on the calls that really mattered, I could probably work about 3 or 4 hours a day and do more in 3 or 4 hours than I do in 10 hours, because I waste time with things that aren't really that important.
Or people who suck. Pardon my French.
Yeah.
So many of these people listening to this, you know, there's over 300 loan reps at Summit. Over 220 of them in next level coaching. We got 80% of all loan officers at Summit are in our program. And if I could help them with one thing, it's what you just taught them. Don't spend time with people who aren't successful, because you'll feel like a failure and you'll want to quit. Spend time, more time on people who are successful, and you will feel, even if they don't choose you, you will feel better about yourself, and you will keep going. Home run.
Yeah, 100%. So that's been a huge game changer. And I feel like in the last few weeks, I've made more big, important calls that I need to make than it's been a while. So that's been a huge game changer. So I'm going to keep doing that. And I just think in general, like, I think there's this idea you got to work 60 hours a week, right? Like, you don't. Like, we just spend way too much time. You know, I heard this, Robin said this once a long time ago, and I thought this was brilliant. She said, you know, we spend way too much time cleaning the kitchen, right? Like writing down the list of who we're going to call, and, you know, getting my calendar ready and doing all this stuff. And we don't do much time cooking, right? Quit cleaning and start cooking, right? And that's just something I tell myself, like when I'm sitting there and I'm kind of like just not making calls, or I'm like, God, like, let's start cooking. Like, let's make some things happen. And what really, the light bulb that went off for me, Jim, was realizing that I was waiting for motivation to come to me to start making the calls.
Ooh.
It's the other way around. The motivation comes from making the calls, because as soon as I make one call and I have a good conversation and I make an appointment, immediately my energy levels up. I feel jazzed. I'm ready to start calling listing agents, right? Like, it's the other way around. It's like going to the gym. Right? Like when I go to the gym, I'm like I don't really feel like lifting, but as soon as I lift and I get going, man, I'm like, go home, I'm like high on endorphins. I feel amazing.
Oh,
right. The activity is what brings motivation.
Preach it. Listen, we just got out of 2 years of getting paid for doing nothing.
Yep.
How'd you overcome it? I know how I did.
Well, how am I getting overcome it now? You mean?
Yeah, well, like, don't you feel like, listen, if we're all being honest, we feel a little entitled.
Yeah, so maybe I'm a little bit different. So my mindset is, I don't know about you, but I actually kind of get excited about it, right? Like, I feel like it's fun to be kind of a hunter, be a loan officer again, right? Like, go out and create relationships, like really take my skills that I've learned and actually apply them. This is what I've been trained for, right? Like this market right now. And I don't know, maybe I'm in the minority. It's great to just coach refis and, you know, have money just rolling in, but I kind of like the hunt. I kind of like the process and like building something, and it's fun when it's really tough to see who really is doing the work, right? Who's making it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got something I want to save. I'm going to save it. I want to save it. So when you feel entitled, when you feel like you've arrived, and you're conscious of it, I'm just begging you to realize that if you do not change that, you are going to be out of the business. I got some. I'm saving. Oh man, I want to say it. I'm going to save it to the loan officer retreat. But moving forward, my favorite word is focus forward. Wherever you're at in your business, wherever you're at with your team, wherever you're at in your lead generation, wherever you're at in your greatness tracker, focus forward. People who live in the past are depressed. People who live in the future are stressed. What are you going to do today? What are you going to do today? So every day, I do this stupid journal that I hate and I love every day. 5-minute journal. The same thing drives me nuts, right? But I will give you a secret about it. It tells you like what you're grateful for. You got to write 3 things. What would make today great? You got to write 3 things. Affirmations, you got to write 2 things. Get this book and write the simplest things. Do not write big things. Write the simplest things you're grateful for, and write the simplest things that'll make today feel successful. Because it is the same thing that Justin's been talking about. When he gets to the gym, he don't want to go, and he feels like blah, and then after he lifts a little weight, he gets going. When he makes a call, he don't want to, has a little success, he gets going. It's the same exact thing. I write 3 simple things I'm grateful for, 3 simple things that will make me feel successful. I achieve them easily, and then I get going. And once I'm going, it's just about getting started. So excellent stuff for this changing market. I believe the last 2 years didn't happen. They just didn't happen.
Yep.
I have to believe that, otherwise I get hung up on it. I just got to believe that didn't happen, right? Move forward. So best sales tactic right now to meet new realtors. What are you doing to meet new realtors right now?
So my 2 best tactics for meet new realtors. If I want to meet new realtors, I'll either do buddy lunches, by far and away the best. I already got great relationships and they want to help me, right? So
what do you say to them? I believe so Josh Sigmund built his business on buddy lunches. He's my buddy. He is a great rep. I built mine on Tuesday updates. Todd created those 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So buddy lunches, how do you do it?
Simple. It'd be, hey, Jim, what's going on? How are you doing this week?
I'm doing good, man. I want to play golf. You want to play golf?
I would love to play golf, but right now I'm super slammed and the wife's not going to let me get out. However, it's been a couple weeks, dude. Let's go grab lunch. Do you got time this week? Pick the day.
Thursdays are good for me.
Thursdays. Well, Jim, do me a favor. I am trying to create a few more relationships, and you work at a huge office there. I'll tell you what, I will buy you the nicest lunch in town if you bring 1 or 2 of your buddies from the office.
So stop right there. Is that what you really say?
Yeah.
Does it really work?
Yeah, they want to help me. They're like, yeah, sure.
Do you know that everybody listening thinks me and you are full of crap? They don't think it works.
It works, yeah. Just be
totally
authentic.
Works. Hey, we love working with you. My team loves you. Let's go to lunch. What's your favorite restaurant? Who can you bring?
Yeah.
Done.
That's it. Just be the biggest thing for me when it comes to stuff like that is I don't try to have some script or pitch. I'm just authentic, right? Like, hey, I'm just trying to meet somebody else. Do me a favor, bring one of your best agents that you really like to hang out with. Obviously, we work well together and I like you, so I'll probably like them. Bring them along.
So listen, it's easy to build business when you already have some business. If you're listening to this and you don't already have some business, the only thing you could do is 6 open houses every weekend, not once a month.
Yep.
Every weekend, call the realtors on Monday, set appointments, meet them and see if it works out. The second thing you do is pick 6 offices, boutique offices, not Keller Williams, not Remax. They're going to ask you for money. They think they're fancy. They're not fancy. Most of them not that great. I'm sorry, it's the truth. 6 boutique offices. Go see them every week. Drop off some collateral and just keep showing up for 9 months. You'll own it. I could rebuild my career in any market in 1.5 years. I promise.
Jim, if there was number one way that if I was going to a brand new market across the country, there's 2 things I'd do. I'd go to open houses every weekend and I'd go to offices.
Just drop by. Here's a 5% down jumbo. Here's an 80-10-10. Here's a FHA to 580. Here's a VA no loan limit. Here's a down payment assistance. Here's an invitation to a seminar with a guest speaker. Over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yep.
Just keep doing the work. Like if you're not like, I got this branch. We do pretty good. We got 20 loan reps. We average 7 loans a month per loan rep. That don't suck.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. And they all were really grinding this year, and they've all pulled the parachute. Like we always used to text on Saturday morning, how many realtors did you text? How many open houses you going to see? And everybody just kind of got tired. You know what? It makes me happy. There used to be too many loans and not enough loan reps. And now there's too many loan reps and not enough loans.
Yep.
So listen, I'm going to finish with this. First of all, great call. Excellent stuff. Thank you. Now listen, if you don't want to do the work, beat it. If you want to do the work, follow our plan. You'll make it. And you'll make more than a doctor. That's the truth. So Justin, thanks for being a coach for us. Thanks for helping our loan reps. I've grown to love you as a friend and a guy, and I need a golf lesson. But other than that, I really appreciate you spending time with us. Guys, follow the plan, run the play. See you later. Bye.